I'm back. Minus.
What's up, ELiens? I'm back again with another video. If you're new here, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Simply Elle, and welcome to the ELiens gang. And if you are not new here, well, yeah, let's do it. You know, it's the regular madness. It's the regular madness. Thank you so much for coming back. Today we're going to be discussing Love is Blind Season 8. I'm going to be talking about what happened in episodes 1 through 6 that aired on Valentine's Day. Honestly, this season has been extremely anticlimactic, literally a snooze fest. It's so boring. I had a hard time watching it. It was very, very hard to watch. It was dragging. It was boring. It was like I was pulling teeth. I was like, what can I talk about? I'm going to be talking about the 6 couplings that we watched in these episodes, including some love triangles and a love square. I'm also going to be doing my makeup because I need something else to do. Like, I'm telling you guys, I was so bored. Let's get into it. This season marks Love is Blind's 5th anniversary since it aired in 2020 during the pandemic. And they made it a point to tell us that this season has the most contestants that there ever was in Love is Blind. 16 women and 16 men, so that there's more to choose from. However, that means they only added 1 extra girl and 1 extra guy. But I mean, go off, I guess. Woo, 5th anniversary, yay! Okay, so the first couple I want to talk about is Monica and Joey. I call him the tall Lord Farquaad. Like, he looks like Lord Farquaad to me. Monica did end up saying that he looked like Tarzan, but that's also true. He does look like Tarzan, but my first initial thought was the guy from Shrek. I'm gonna be trying this today. If you know, you know. I don't know if I use this, whether or not I have to use another primer. I don't think so. So we're just gonna be using this only. I'm not going anywhere. I just have a couple videos to shoot, including this one. Okay, I forgot we're talking about Love is Blind. Okay. I was getting really into my makeup. So yeah, Monica and Joey. Monica is 28 as of right now, and Joey is 35. They really had a good connection in the pods. They had very similar personalities. I didn't really see any like drama or anything bad to say about them, honestly. They really liked each other. Eventually, they get engaged in episode 2, and then they had their reveal. I really found it difficult to watch simply because Monica was like slouching like this, like, oh my God. I don't know, like, I was like, what the heck is going on? But regardless of all that, they seemed pleased with each other. Like, they liked what they both look like. That's awesome for them. I'm going in with my Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blurring Balm Powder in number 9. All right, the next couple I want to talk about. Daniel is 30 and Taylor is 32. And similar to Monica and Joey, these two hit it off from the beginning until the very end. The very end is where their controversy, the one little excitement of the season that I got, that's when it happened, at the very end. So we're gonna get there. They seemed to be like made for each other. Like, they both love Christmas. One time in the pods, Daniel gifted her, I think, a Christmas stocking with a T on it, and she already had the exact same Christmas stocking with a T on it. Keep that in mind. So they do their reveal. They're very excited. However, later on we find out that Taylor felt like he looked very familiar. Like, somehow, some way that she knew him. And she thought maybe it's because I'd been picturing his face in the pods this whole time. So that's why it seems like he looks really familiar. Then she remembers that before coming on the show, she had gotten a follow from an account. The account followed and unfollowed her. And then she started to remember that that account looked a lot like it belonged to Daniel. She feels like he planned to be on the show with her and knew who she was before they came on the show, and like made it like a mission to get them to be together. She remembers that he had either his profile picture or one of the photos in the Instagram post, picture of him with like the Christmas tree and the Christmas decorations and stuff like that behind him. So when she brings it up to him, she's like, this is how I feel. And he's like, first of all, his reaction is very suspicious to me. There's no way you're gonna accuse me of something like that, because that's pretty serious. It's creepy. You're not gonna accuse me of something like that and I'm gonna be so chill, like, oh no, that's not the case, whatever. I'm gonna have like a visceral reaction, like, what are you trying to accuse me of here? He was way too calm for my comfort. But yeah, he's like, no, I didn't follow you. And she's like, yeah, of course you unfollowed me. She asks him if he has a picture of himself on his page with like Christmas decorations, a Christmas tree behind him. He's like, no. He denies, denies everything. That's where we leave off this batch of episodes. And I'm really excited to see if it's true that he knew who she was before coming on this show, because that would be extremely, extremely crazy. And if she's just being paranoid, that would be like, girl, what? Like, what, girl? That was the one exciting thing that happened, honestly, this whole season so far. That was the one thing that I found to be interesting. Everything else was like watching paint dry. So yeah, that's that for and Taylor. We're now gonna move on to Ben and Sara. These people are not compatible. They're both not super religious, but they believe that there is a higher power. And we find out that Ben would like his partner to go to church with him. Sara says that she has no problem going to church as long as they can find a church that accommodates her lesbian sister. They were each other's number one for the majority of their time in the pods. One of the reasons that I feel like Sara and Ben aren't compatible and shouldn't be together is because Sara has firm beliefs. She's like a social justice warrior, very much an activist, very much stay woke. And Ben seems to be more of a people pleaser. Like if Sara says, I don't like something, he's gonna be like, yeah, I don't really like it either. If Sara says she likes something, he's gonna like it as well. He's gonna be like, oh yeah, totally, me too. Like he doesn't stand for anything, so he falls for everything almost. Like I mentioned, Sara is extremely political. She stays woke. She asks Ben how he feels about social justice issues, like social causes. Black Lives Matter. She references the George Floyd unaliving in I think 2020. She said that really like woke her up, and she wants to lend her voice to those causes that uphold equality and human rights, pretty much. If there's a protest for something good, a good cause, Sara's there. Big ups to you, Sara. Good on you. It was a bit cringy when she was talking about it and she was asking him and stuff. Didn't expect that, not from her especially. Ben is like, I haven't really thought much about it. We find out that he didn't vote in the last election, the one where Biden won, because he was like, well, if it doesn't affect me, whatever. I don't know much about it. And that annoys Sara, understandably. Honestly, people who don't vote kind of irritate me, because some of those people that did not vote have the most opinions. Like, bro, this conversation was had like right after they decide to be boyfriend and girlfriend. Ben leaves the pods like, woo, I have a girlfriend. And Sara is like, oof. He is a bit ignorant to a lot of things. I don't really remember them like working through it, besides Ben acquiescing pretty much. Like I feel like we have the same political beliefs, we have the same political views. I'm just not, privy to a lot of like social justice issues, and he's willing to do that for her. He's willing to get woke for her, which leads into what I feel like is a people-pleasing personality. They still go ahead and get engaged to each other, and in the reveal, they both also appear to be pleased with each other. Let's move on. I feel like I'm gonna finish talking about these people before I finish my makeup, and I don't want that. All right, our next coupling brings us to our first love triangle, and one of the more tame, less annoying love triangles of this season, and that is Devin, Brittany, and Virginia. Devin is 29, Brittany is 35, and Virginia is 34. If you're wondering why I'm saying Brittany's name like that, is because she made it a point to say her name is not Brittany. It's not Brittany, it's Brittany. Okay, so I'm gonna put some respect on her name. So a few fun facts about this triangle. Devin and Brittany's dad are both named Willie, and they also played and coached basketball. Virginia used to dance in the NBA, and she also went to the same high school as Devin, only 5 years earlier. Devin had a really good connection with Brittany. He also had a very good connection with Virginia. They were both kind of like teetering between number one. One would be number one today, then they'll all be equal. So they were both fighting for the number one spot in Devin's heart, kind of. Things then change when Devin decides to open up about his abuse of ibuprofen due to an injury to his back. He couldn't find a remedy to the pain that he was feeling, and he just kept taking ibuprofen. He would take 2, that increased to 4, that increased to 6, all the way up until he got to taking 20 per day. This led him down a very, very dark path, and at his lowest point is when he found Jesus. He found our Lord God Jehovah, and that got him to try and get some help again for the pain. So he went and met a doctor, and that doctor was the one person who took their time to look for the source of the problem, like what could be wrong and all of that. He got surgery and he was able to make a full recovery, and now he's able to play basketball, he's able to coach basketball, and he's having a much, much better quality of life. So his faith is very, very important to him. He opens up to both women. However, he does it to Brittany first, and this gets her extremely emotional to the point where she's crying with him, because the story also got me too. It was very, very touching. Then she feels compelled to open up to him as well about her sexual orientation. She has been with women previously. However, she states that she knows she does not want to be with a woman forever. Her end game is not with a woman. She intends on marrying a man, and she doesn't see a future with women. She wanted to make sure that Devin was aware, and you can see a shift happen in their relationship. You can see Devin begin to kind of like pull away, like, ooh, I don't know about this. For blush today, I'm going to be trying these 2 shades from Huda Beauty. One is new in the shade Intense Guava, and the other one, I've been dying to try this, is Black Cherry. So yes, Devin is like, I just have to, think about it because I wasn't expecting that. That was a bit much for me. It's not as dark as I thought it would be, but let me not put too much. Whoa, that's bright. This is intense indeed. But yeah, Brittany did admit that she was hoping for a different response from him, but she didn't want to take away from what he was feeling. It is a lot to come to terms with. I forgot to mention that Brittany also made sure to tell him that she was monogamous, because he was like, are you still interested in women, or is that like the past for you? Are you, she kind of clocked what he was trying to say. And I don't know why people think bisexual people cannot be faithful in their relationship. Simply because you like both men and women does not mean that you're going to be with men and women at the same time. If I'm dating a guy now, I'm dating a guy, I'm going to be faithful to that guy. And if I'm dating a woman, same applies. So I don't know why that's like a misconception for the bisexuals. Like, not too much on us. He then goes and opens up to Virginia as well after his date with Brittany. It was also extremely emotional. And since they've been talking, Virginia hasn't really opened up as much as Devin would like. So after this, he definitely lets her know, like, I'm gonna need you to get deeper. I'm gonna need you to get vulnerable with me, because we don't have that much time. Virginia is able to open up to Devin and get vulnerable with him. She hasn't had good examples of, relationships. Her examples haven't been healthy relationships. And I think this is what sold Devin on Virginia. And he just couldn't get past the bisexual thing with Brittany. We can see that he's likely going to move on with Virginia. In the next date that Devin and Brittany have, she decides to end things with him because she also was expecting a different response than what he gave her. So she didn't feel comfortable moving forward. And obviously Devin feels the same way. So they break up amicably. She tells him, that Virginia is someone that she knows, she's an amazing woman, and good luck to them. I'm going to be trying out for the first time the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. I'm excited. So after this, Devin and Virginia get engaged. They meet each other, and it was great. They seem to enjoy each other's physical appearance in addition to each other's emotional connection. So I enjoyed watching the reveal. It went really well. Our next love triangle, and this one was the more annoying one. I'm gonna try and keep it as fast as possible. I don't have that many notes, so hopefully we can get through this quickly. So our next love triangle consists of Dave, Molly, and Lauren. This love triangle pissed me off. I was very irritated watching this. This is so much, but I like to bake, so. Dave is 33, Molly is 30, and Lauren 31. Dave, this guy has the worst humor I've ever seen, like, to me.
Dave, what's your name?
Monica.
Monica, why are you here? What's wrong with you? So, what's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Why are you here?
What? What's wrong with
I would be taken aback. Some people said they found it funny. I really didn't. To each his own. One thing he did to Lauren, I didn't see him do it to anyone else.
I'm 32.
Okay.
How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, so you're no longer attractive.
Oh my god. Should this be the first date that I walk out on? It might have to be.
I said, guy, be coming down. Like, be coming down. There is God in everything we are doing. Apparently, that was just funniness as well. So I don't want to be that person that can't take a joke. Even though I'm like, what's so funny about this goddamn joke? But whatever. One question I have for him is why he's so afraid of his sister. Why is he so scared of his sister? Or maybe he's just using that as like a cop-out when he decides to not like say yes to anyone. Because I don't see him finding a wife in this show. Yeah, he's always saying like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared of my sister this and that. I'm like, why is this sister so scary to you? Like, what is really good with this your sister? My sister doesn't love that I'm being here or whatever. Okay, oh. For me, that would have been like annoying. Like, okay, I think, well, you have a sister and she's this big and bad wolf person. I don't know. He admits to being Bane in the past and he's trying something different. He wants to be a better person because he hasn't been the greatest person in the past. And he also admits his past relationship ended because he cheated and he wouldn't do it again because he just felt really bad about it or something. And he wasn't very honest in the pods. At some point, their love triangle started to blend together and people were finding out who people were talking about, who your number one is, and this and that and the third. Dave got confronted by Lauren to find out whether or not he had told his other connection, Molly Percocet, that she was his number one. And David did say this. We watched him say, you know, I see you being number one or whatever. I can't remember the exact words, but he basically told that girl she was his number one. And then when Lauren asked, he's like, I never said that. I never told her that. I don't know why she would say that, blah, 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 blah. Let's move on to Lauren real quick. She seemed extremely desperate. It had to be Dave or nothing. And when she found out that Dave had another connection with Molly, she was literally like in shambles. She was trying really hard to like not let it show, but it was not working. If Molly is talking about her number one, which is her guy, she's just gonna be like, I'm like, girl, is everything okay? Like she begins to start like convulsing almost. She's really willing to do anything to please him, including, you know, figuring out how to please the sister. Hey Mufasa, yes, Taka. I started using the NYX brow tint pen and I'm not going back. I use it in the shade black because my brow hairs are like black. But yeah, and we also see that because of her desperation, she puts a lot of pressure on Dave, which is what essentially didn't make him want to pick her. But as she's saying like, you know, are you connecting with other people? How am I not your number one? Why can't you just choose already? He, I guess, falls into the pressure. He denies ever telling Molly that she was his number one and decides to break up with Molly after this. Speaking of Molly, Molly seems like she's pretty cool. She's never been in a relationship and I just don't know if coming to Love is Blind was her next step. Maybe date around intentionally for a while before deciding to come and fall in love with a stranger. But hey, to each their own. She also opens up to Dave that even though she's never cheated, she's been the other woman, like somebody has cheated with her. And, you know, that made her feel terrible. And she knew, girl, I'm judging. We don't judge, but I'm judging. You knew that this person was in a relationship and you kept doing it. Okay, girl. She didn't put a lot of pressure on Dave, and I think that's what made him attracted to her. But, you know, Miss Pressure over here, Lauren, was like, choose me, decide. Granted, Dave was taking too long to decide, but still, like, girl, if it's not a natural something, you probably don't want it. After all the number one kerfuffle, Dave finally breaks up with Molly, and it was kind of weird because I think he was trying to let her down easy, but Molly was basically like, just come out and say it. If you're breaking up with me, just say that. And he was like, yeah, I'm breaking up with you. What do you think I've been trying to say? I'm like, oh, this is weird. We see in the pods that she doesn't really have an emotion, which is something that's an issue for Dave. He's like, why is she so cool about us breaking up? Like, she's not feeling anything. But I guess she just wants to maintain her steez because when we see her in the women's quarters, she's crying and all that. And then she and Lauren speak and she tells Lauren basically like, you know, he's gonna pick you. It's gonna be you. And they both talk about how manipulative Dave can be and how he lied to them and he could probably be playing the both of them and all that. Lauren is sitting here saying, yeah, you know, he's kind of like a manipulator, only to go back into the pod softly confronts him about the thing with Molly, but then agrees to be engaged with him. Like, yeah, he probably has a few red flags, but whatever. He's picking me. So that's basically what happened. He and Lauren get engaged, and then they have their reveal. It seems cool, but I'm not sure if they're attracted to one another. I feel like Lauren might be more attracted than Davis, but we'll see. That's that on that. Let's move on to our final people, which is the love square or the love rectangle, because there's 4 people in this mess. So first we have Alex, who is 29, then Madison, who is 28, then Mason, who is 33, and Meg, who is 31. Madison is between Alex and Mason, while Mason is between Madison and Meg. So that's what makes this a love rectangle, a love square. I hope that wasn't too confusing. Let me do these eyebrows and I'll be right back. All right, so I feel like this love square, rectangle, whatever, could have been avoided if the 2 people at the edge of each triangle making up the square really focused on the reason that they were on this show, which was supposedly to find love, right? Because Madison had a better connection, in my opinion, with Alex, while Mason had a better connection with Meg. So if Mason had just focused on Meg and Madison had just focused on Alex, they probably would have had a better outcome. So we meet Alex, who informs us that he was severely bullied while he was growing up. He has a lot of trauma surrounding the bullying that he went through as a child. We find out that he has an anxious attachment style because he asks Madison on one of their dates what her attachment style is, and she is an avoidant. That sparks up some red flags in Alex's ears because he has been with an avoidant and it didn't end well for him. So he didn't want to get here and repeat the same mistakes that basically brought him to this level, to come and find love on Love is Blind. So after finding this out, it causes him to pull away a bit from Madison because he was scared. He admits to have been cheated on before, and all of that. He's just like, I don't know if you're gonna be it for me. Now let's talk about Madison. Madison has been through a lot. My first instinct is to like her, but I can see how she can be a bit manipulative because she has a lot of trauma. Like, she's been through a lot. She's had a very difficult life, but she seems to always want to trauma dump on people. They could be having a really good time in the pods, a really good moment, and then she's bringing it back to her trauma, changing the whole mood. I've heard people say that it could be attention seeking, that she's using her trauma to seek attention. And I would like to think that it's because she's not self-aware, because using trauma for attention is not like, girl, what are you doing? Save it for your therapist. As I mentioned earlier, she has an avoidant attachment style, has been single for the past 2 years. A lot of people have been single for the past 2 years on this show. I'm using my Dennis Amarik's Groundwork palette, and I got the Blooming Romance one. I really want the nude one as well, but I can never find it in store. I noticed that she had 2 different personalities, for lack of a better term, when it came to her connection with Alex and Mason. I feel like she was like 2 different people. With Mason, she was sexual. She was twerking in the pods and letting him know, like, I'm twerking right now. As I said that, I was twerking. And Mason is just like, oh, really? Damn, I really want to see that. When we see her with Alex, she's more demure and very sweet, angel type of girl. I found that was interesting. She pressured Mason to basically like pick her or make a decision, only for him to pick her, and then she dumps him for Alex. Now let's talk about Mason. Mason left with nothing. He was in between Madison and Meg, but he left with nothing. I feel like he was mostly being seduced by Madison. Their connection was more of a sexual one than a purely emotional connection. So I don't know if you guys also noticed that. If this world. I felt like he had a better connection though with Meg than he did with Madison. He and Meg had literally the same interests. They like aliens, they like supernatural stuff. Their connection seemed really, really good. He wasn't religious, neither was Megan. I don't know if her name is Megan. Meg. We only know her as Meg, sorry. He's also a cinematographer. I thought that was interesting. I think his occupation was the most interesting to me because it's the only one I really remembered. So yeah, we got Mason the cinematographer in between 2 women. Like I said, he was pressured into committing to Madison. He commits to Madison, and then and she breaks up with him because she's choosing Alex. Then he tries to take back his commitment to her, and this rubs Madison the wrong way. And she decides to speak to Meg about it. Like, this is what he told me, this is what happened. I just broke up with him and he tried to take back the commitment he made to me, I guess so he can be in good standing with you. Now we have reached the final person of this square, which is Meg. Meg seems very fun, like bubbly, a lot of energy, big energy. However, she talks too much. Oh my goodness. Talks a little too much for my taste. I'm not super into it. Like I said, Mason loved it. He thought that she was an AI bot talking to him because her answers were so perfect. He loves the movie Her, and he brings it up to Madison. She doesn't really know what it is. Before he even gets the chance to mention anything about the movie, Meg brings up the movie. She's like, oh, have you seen the movie Her? And he's like, even me, I said, oh, I think this is your girl, Lou. His favorite movie is her favorite movie. Yeah, so after hearing from Madison, she decides, I'm not gonna be second best, and I applaud her for this. I completely respect her for this. So Madison has broken up with Mason. Meg doesn't want him anymore because she doesn't want to be second choice. Mason has left with nothing. Then, after Mason comes back, crying, you know, I lost everybody, Alex and Madison have a date, their final date. And she's basically venting to him like, oh my God, Mason did this and it rubbed me the wrong way. I didn't really like it. He a commitment to me and then tried to take it back. Instead of Alex to be like, oh yeah, that sucks, well, maybe even try to move the conversation along, he tries to like defend Mason or like validate Mason, like, yeah, he's valid as well, but then you can't say Mason is valid and also say that Madison is valid because it doesn't work like that. Yeah, so Madison felt invalidated because every single time she would say, okay, this is how I feel like you're invalidating me because this is what Mason did and it wasn't right. Instead of maybe even just moving on, like ending the conversation, he just kept on validating Mason and also still trying to validate Madison. After all that, the mood with Madison had shifted. I think it was ruined for her. Neither of them were able to come back from it and they broke up. So nobody from this square made it. And I feel like if they had both focused on their number ones in the beginning, they would have had a better experience and probably left with a better outcome. This is directed at Madison and Mason. That love square, love rectangle was essentially a waste of my time. That's basically it. I'm gonna finish up my makeup and then come back for my final thoughts. Yo, this season, God have mercy upon us. I'm sure I forgot some things because I found it very difficult to pay attention. I saw Jessie's video on this and her title said it's giving DEI rollbacks and I'm dying, but I could not agree more. All right, guys, this is the final makeup look. Let me know what you guys think. It's not my favorite. It's not that I don't like it and it's not like it doesn't look good. It's just, I just feel like I could have done something different, but it's cute. I didn't do anything special to my lips because I'm gonna be swatching Fenty Beauty's new Gloss Bomb Shimmer Sticks. So I wanted to give my lips a little bit of moisture before I go and swatch all those lips. I'm gonna be swatching all the colors, okay? So meet me over there when it's time. So on my lips, I tried out the Laneige Glaze Craze Tinted Lip Serum in the shade Chocolate Frosting. It feels incredible on my lips and it looks really, really good. And along with my Charlotte Tilbury setting spray, I went ahead and used the Fenty Beauty You Mist setting spray. And I've wanted to do this test. Just 8 actually. I got off the camera 8 and I came back. So let's see. You can see I'm pressing it into my skin. You guys see that? Wow. And I just pressed it against my skin and nothing. Anyways, I think that was a good demo. The makeup is popping, love it, great. My overall thoughts on the season so far. Where is the melanin? Popping. It's a little too much of this for me. Where are the people that can wear my color of foundation or darker? There's this girl that they kept showing, Yemi's beautiful woman. I'll put her on the screen. I'm like, why can I not know her story? And then there's this man who's Gorimapa head they kept showing to us and I'm like, what about him? He was in almost every single scene with the guys, but we don't know anything about that guy. The only melanin we got was Brittany. Shasha, I would have liked to see more black people. Another thing I wanted to say is I feel like they should restrict the participants from talking about their dates, their connections, because I feel like that really messes with the show and it messes with a lot of people's outcomes. I feel like they should not talk about their connections in the show. If I was on there, you wouldn't know anybody. You would not know who my number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. You wouldn't know anything. I shouldn't know that you're talking to my person and you shouldn't know that I'm talking to yours. I didn't see the guys do that. The women this season, they were doing a little too much. Keep some things close to the chest. We saw how Lauren was literally convulsing when she found out that Molly was talking to her guy. Even Brittany and Virginia knew that they were talking to the same person. I just feel like it shouldn't be a thing that they are allowed to do. Thirdly, you guys spent way too much time in the pods. I don't know who was asking for more times in the pods. I hope you got what you wanted. 6 episodes of straight pods. I was literally dying of boredom. I'm hoping the next batch of episodes are more interesting than the ones that we just saw because oh my goodness. That's it for the discussion on Love is Blind season 8. I will see you guys again to talk about the upcoming episodes. It's actually releasing tonight. Hopefully more interesting things happen. It seems like there will be more interesting things to happen. Thank you guys so much for making it this far. Leave a comment down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this season of Love is Blind. Who are you rooting for? Who are you not rooting for? Who is already rubbing you the wrong way? Please continue the discussion in the comment section below. I really appreciate you. Like the video if you like the video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring that bell so that you get notified anytime I drop a new video. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!